Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be about all of those things that nobody told me before I became a mum. Now I'm going to start by saying with this video is that I think that like motherhood, it's not like a general thing, it's not like something that everybody goes through in the exact same way. I think it's like it completely depends on you and every mum is different, but there are a few things that I just did not realise about motherhood, and this is the channel mum topic for February, and mine is a little bit late because of what happened with Daisy being in hospital, but I would love to know in the comments down below what you didn't realise about motherhood and like how it sort of changed your viewpoint now you've become a mum. So number one is body confidence. Now this is a really weird one, but when I was pregnant I assumed, and I was very aware of this when I was pregnant with Bill, I watched my body grow and I watched my body change, and in those 9 almost 10 months I sort of accepted the fact that one day this little baby was going to be out of my body and I was going to be left with a body that I wasn't happy with, and I wasn't going to like my body. I was going to hate my stretch marks and I was going to not be as attractive as I used to be. And what has massively surprised me about being a mum is that I am probably more body confident personally than I've ever been, and I think it's just that experience of seeing your body create a human, push it out your vajayjay, and then to survive and tell the tale, like that for me was amazing. And another thing I want to say this is that like no matter how that baby is born, whether it's from down there or you know the sunroof as my mum calls it, you're bloody incredible. And I sort of feel like that gives you a license to go, you know what, my body is fucking awesome. And I don't hate my stretch marks as much as I thought I would. Like I kind of look down at them and I'm like, yeah, moving on. Like I don't let them hold me back, and now I just feel like a really sort of strong person. I feel like I've used my body for something incredible, and while it doesn't look perfect and while I'm never going to be on the cover of a magazine or one of those like babes on Instagram looking like absolutely amazing in a bikini, I'm still amazing just the way I am. The second thing is that first postpartum poo, right? Everybody goes on about how much like, you know, labour is kind of painful and it's like it's horrible and you know it really hurts and you're going to need this drug and that drug and this is what it's going to be like, and you might like poo when you're giving birth. Like that's all well and good. If you poo while you're giving birth, embrace that poo, because the poo that follows that is going to be like shitting out a brick, in all honesty. Oh my goodness, the first one with Bill, I cried my eyes out sat on a toilet and it was so sore, and it didn't just come in one go, it was 2-3 attempts of trying to sort of clear that area, and it was so sore. It made me bleed, I was really uncomfortable, I experienced piles for the first time, and I was sort of steamrolled by that because after all the pain I'd been through, I just did not understand why this was happening and why I was being tortured. And at the end of the day, you give birth to a baby, and however that happens and however you go through that pain, at the end of it you're handed a gorgeous little baby, but at the end of that you aren't handed anything gorgeous at all. It's just pain and potentially a blocked toilet. So the third thing is probably a little bit of a cliche, but oh my goodness, the love that you feel when you first meet your baby. I was not prepared for how amazing I would feel when I got to meet that little person. And one thing I do want to say is that I understand that this isn't like this for everybody, and sometimes that love will be instantaneous, like the second that baby is placed into your arms, and sometimes that love can take a couple of days, but when it reaches you, it is the most incredible feeling in the world, particularly I would say with my second, because obviously I had Bill and I fell head over heels with Bill. He consumed me. I love him so so much, and I was very scared towards the end of my second pregnancy with Daisy that I wasn't going to be physically able to love my daughter as much, because I just couldn't imagine how my heart could do that. But as I think I've said before, your love doesn't halve, it multiplies. It's the most incredible feeling, and you just look at someone and you finally understand what it would be like to jump in front of a bullet for someone and do anything for someone because they are your babies. And oh my goodness, like, it gives me goosebumps just thinking of it. The first 2 times I held both of my children, and when I met them for that very first time, were moments that I'll never forget, because it was those times that I finally realised how incredible love is. The fourth thing is about sex, and whether or not this is TMI, I don't know, but I'm going to put this out there. I think there's a lot of sort of discussion around parents and sex, and the fact that the majority of people in society, particularly those that aren't parents, think that when you have kids you no longer have sex and you don't like sex anymore, and women in particular are like, you are not going in there, my friend. But I would like to sort of put it out there that I completely disagree, and I have proof, because people have more than one child and there's a reason for that. You have sex and you make more babies, and for me, I think it's sort of something that I want to break, because I understand that sex is really painful after you've had a baby. You are insecure about your body initially. Your husband or your other half or your wife or your partner, whoever they are, has gone from seeing your body when it was probably in its prime to your body that has birthed 1, 2, 3, 4 children. And while like I felt stronger in myself and more confident in my ability as a person, and like I had a strong body that was capable of certain things, I was very nervous to sort of go, ta-da, to Mark again, like, this is what you're left with now, my friend. You enjoy it for what it is. No, you're gonna have to look down here a little bit now because the boobs aren't quite up there anymore. It's one of those, like, it is an adjustment, but I don't want people that are like pregnant now, or people that are about to try for a child, to think, is my sex life gonna go down the bin? Like, obviously babies are going to interrupt you right just before that big moment, and you are going to have like children like trying to get into your room like, mama, what are you doing? And it's like, it's one of those things, and it's not as easy, but I don't think that it's as bad as sometimes it's made out to be. But again, that might just be me. And the final thing that I'm going to touch upon is probably a bit of a sensitive one, but I think that it needs to sort of be said. I think a lot of the time we're very frightened to address it because we feel like it might be bad luck and we don't want it to happen to us, and we kind of don't want to think about it. But one thing I didn't realise before I became a mum is that sometimes things can go wrong, and when Daisy was born, it was the biggest shock of my life to see that my baby wasn't this healthy baby that we all dream about. She wasn't what I was expecting. She was not what I felt like I was entitled to almost. You just sort of assume, don't you, in pregnancy, you get to a certain point, scans are out of the way and you're like, right, we're on your clear, I just need to get this little guy or little girl bigger and give birth to them and it's going to be fine. But I think that sometimes we do have to prepare for the fact that sometimes things can go undetected in scans, and sometimes things can be detected in scans. And I don't want to frighten a new parent at all by saying this, but I just want to say is that yes, things can go wrong. You might experience a premature birth. You might have a baby with a syndrome like mine does. You might have a baby that is born and then suffers during the birth and might spend a little time in NICU as well. And things can go wrong, and that doesn't stop with birth, that goes on and on in life. Like sometimes you'll get a phone call from school saying that like such and such has fallen off a climbing frame and cut their chin open, and it happens. It's one of those things about being a parent, and that's what comes with love, is fear of losing your child and fear of something happening to them. But what I want to say is that things can go wrong, but they do go right eventually. Things do get better. Your expectations about parenthood might change and your expectations about life might change, but you will impress yourself with your strength. Sometimes you will not feel strong at all, you will not feel brave, you will feel like you are failing. And that's actually whether or not your baby was born poorly or not. Like, that's the thing about motherhood, about fatherhood, about parenthood. You will have moments where you feel like you have royally fucked up, like you cannot do this, like you want to shut the bathroom door and just let your kids stay away from you, like you need space, you want to eat that chocolate bar in peace, you want to poo in peace, you want to have a bath without a squeaky duck up your bum. And you will have moments where they have tantrums in front of what feels like the whole village and you feel like you're a failure. You will have moments where you forget their wellies on the way to school and that means they can't go out and play at playtime unless they've got them. So you run back home like I did today to go and get them, because you might have failed but you don't want to give up and you'll keep trying. But what I will say is that you're not alone in that. I think that every single parent has those moments, and the weird thing about parenthood is that we're all the same but we're all different at the same time. Your struggles will not be the same as mine and my struggles will not be the same as yours, but I think that if we sort of respect that and lift each other up and support each other, then that is the greatest blessing ever about parenthood, is the friends that you make and the support that you can find when you're least expecting it. So if you're pregnant right now or you're considering having kids, then just know that your life is going to change forever and you will sacrifice some things that you can't quite imagine sacrificing like right now, but it's completely for the best. Like, with everything that I've been through as a mother, I'd still like to have a third one day. I would not change my children for the world, and it's the best roller coaster ride I have ever been on. And sometimes it makes me sick, sometimes I want to get back on it and do it all over again, and sometimes I want to run away from it, but it doesn't stop. There are highs and lows and it's 100% the best ride of your life. So yeah, that is the end of this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. I quite like this one because it was a little bit different, and make sure you let me know in the comments down below what you found surprising about becoming a mum or a dad for the first time, because I think that that's the thing with parenthood, you're constantly learning and adapting and there's always something new to get your head around. But yeah, I'm going to leave you, so don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already, and I would love it if you subscribed too, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.